All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. Just a heads up again for those non-US traders. This is a holiday week. US celebrates Thanksgiving on Thursday. Market is closed. I believe we have full days on Wednesday and Friday, but historically, Wednesdays and Fridays around Thanksgiving are very low volume days. So I don't expect much in terms of price action those couple of days. Market is gapping up this morning. SPY and the Qs. Let's see. SPY's gapping up 0.5%. QQQ gapping up close to 1%. So a slight gap up over the weekend. If you read my over the weekend note, I'm really looking at bounces this week as a potential area to short. A couple of areas that we could watch, like if we go back to SPY, the one thing I'm going to be paying attention to is this downward trend line, right? It's going to align with the 1021 cloud. So what I'd be watching for is any kind of resistance into this zone here. And now this could play out over the next couple of days, right? Depending on where we sit. But I would say maybe 670 on SPY could be an area to look for a short off of, right? It has acted as support. It's now acting as resistance. So that's an SR flip on SPY. So 670 would be the area to watch for a potential short to the downside. For the Qs, I think the area we should watch is probably 609. Again, that's going to be over the cloud when we get there, if we get there. It's going to be right at the 618 fib retracement, which is at 606. So I think anything between 607 and 610, this area here has acted as a SR flip. Basically, resistance, turn support, turn resistance. So 609, 610, you have to sometimes treat these areas as a range because they're not necessarily going to be hard levels. You could see we get wicks through levels. So you just don't want to treat them, as hard levels. Now, of course, we did bounce very similarly to SPY. The Qs bounced at that swing low anchored VWAP. So it bounced at an area that we would have expected to bounce at regardless. And now what we want to see is, do we come into the cloud? And if yes, what happens? Do we chop? Do we break through and continue higher? Bottom is in. Or do we reject off and go lower and create a new lower low? So I don't know if we see that this week. As we come into next week, which is December, Santa rally potential for next month is always a possibility. So we'll take a look at the market when we get there. But having said all of that, regardless of what's going on in the broader market, there are names under the hood that are still showing relative strength, or money is rotated to and showing relative strength. So Google, right? Google just popped, now up 4.5% this morning, new all-time highs, gapping up to new all-time highs. So that was a name, with Warren Buffett's money injection. That's a name that popped up, last week or the week before last. But it's something that I've been tracking from an Elliott Wave perspective since the April low, right? 1, 2. Likely we're in wave 5 of 3, and I'm looking at a potential wave 3 completion between 309 and 324. So we're in that range, and all that tells me is, if you're in Google, great, continue to ride and trim on the way up. But if you're not in Google, not really an area you want to be buying. Why? Because as price is making higher highs, RSI is making lower highs. And this is bearish divergence, right? So the only way we can negate this is if RSI comes back up and beats 90, which is where the high was, and this was back in September, October. I don't think that happens. So at some point, Google cools off and starts to pull back, right? And after you get a wave 3 high, you're going to get some sort of corrective ABC or ABCDE triangle 4 to the downside. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to show you a couple of charts that I posted this morning. One is Hood, the other one is Reddit, that shows this classic, ABC corrective move to the downside. Other names to watch today: GRAIL up 4.5%, Light up 4.5%, BBIB up 3%, and there's a couple of other names, MRK, MH, Dave, and WGS all up, around 2 to 3%. So let's take a quick peek at those examples that I talked about. I think the best example to what I was saying was Reddit, right? So you see how Reddit had this monster rally, kind of what we're seeing here. Like if we looked back at the Google chart, this is kind of what the Google chart looks like, right? You have new all-time high and you're pushing up, right? And then you see the higher high coming in, but then you see the lower high here, bearish divergence. And eventually when bearish divergence sets on a daily and a weekly chart, what happens? Price tends to fall back, and that's exactly what we're seeing. But on the flip side, what's happening here on Reddit? Well, we're putting in lower lows, but we're putting in higher lows on RSI. So this is bullish divergence, right? We talked about bearish divergence. Now we're saying bullish divergence, right? And that's when you have price making lower lows and the indicator. I like to use RSI, Williams percent R, MACD. If I throw those indicators on, you'll probably see the same, bullish divergence. So do I use these types of methods into themselves? No. But what am I looking at here? Well, I'm looking at a potential wave 4 completion, right? So here's your wave 1, 2. Here's your 1, 2 channel. Here's your wave 3, right? And contained in wave 3, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got 5-wave structure in wave 3. And then for wave 4, A, B, C. Now, the question is 1, 2 of 5 in, or is it A, B, C, D, E, and then wave 5 kicks off? That's the only question in my mind. Where are we wrong? Probably under 167. You have the 200 SMA right there. You've got the 618 right at 187. You've got the 1, 2 channel bottom right there. So I think you've got a lot of confluence here. But what the bullish divergence is telling me is that we're likely going to get a bounce soon. Whether it's the bounce we're waiting for, I think that remains to be seen. But regardless, if the bottom comes in soon on Reddit, what I'd be looking for is a 5-wave structure back up to the highs. So that would look like a 1, 2, a 3, some sort of triangle 4, maybe into earnings, and then maybe get that gap on earnings into 5. And then I would target this zone here for the final wave 5 on Reddit. That's 310 to 347. The other name that kind of piqued my interest is Hood. And, in analyzing Hood this morning, what I noticed is the move from February to March was an ABC and took 3 weeks, 1 month, 3 weeks, and 2 days from high to low. The move we're seeing here from October to end of November is 1 month, 2 weeks, and 2 days. So what that tells me is that in the next week, we may see a bottom form on Hood. And what does that look like? Well, it looks like maybe 97 to 100. Why? Prior area of resistance turns support. We also have a rising 200 SMA. So in the next week, we're probably going to test somewhere between 97 to 100. We may even come into the 200 SMA, which we haven't tested since this low down here. But what else do I see? Hidden bullish divergence. So hidden bullish divergence, different than bullish divergence, is when the indicator is making a higher low, and the price is making a higher high, or a higher low, and the indicator is making a lower low. And so there's a divergence here between price and indicator. And again, these are not foolproof, and I never use them into themselves, right? I don't just see bullish divergence or hidden bullish divergence and say, oh, time to buy. No, I look for other things. I look for structure to form. And in this case, an ABC move looks very similar to this ABC move. A lot of times the market rhymes. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, where am I relative to major moving averages? Where am I relative to prior support? We're coming into a confluent zone here, as I mentioned, right? RSI is coming down near bull market support. So anyway, I just wanted to go through a couple of these charts just to give you a little bit of an idea of what I look for in terms of structure setting up on pullbacks. We have not seen a major pullback since February to April of early this year. So if you're new to my type of work, you really haven't seen what I look for in pullbacks. This is what I look for in pullbacks. This is the type of work that I'm going to be doing over this holiday week. I prefer not to trade because it's going to be a low volume week. I do prefer to pay more attention closely to the names that I want to be involved with in the last, month of the year into the first quarter of next year. I'm looking for the relative strength. I'm looking for the names that have, a good theme that we're looking to buy into, right? You have to really start narrowing your focus when markets are pulling back. Stop buying random dips. Buy pullbacks on market structure. Give yourself a chance to time a low, right? This isn't just trying to figure out, where the low is. It's buying a bounce off of a low and using proper stops if you're wrong. So that's what I got. We got about another 12 minutes till the market opens. I'll get the transcript posted in just a moment. Thanks for being with me. And again, just as a reminder, I'm here today, obviously. I'm going to be around for most of the day, but I'm going to be traveling later today, and I will not be on stream Tuesday and Wednesday. And I may or may not be on stream on Friday, but I will put out a morning report for Tuesday and for Wednesday and for Friday. So regardless, even though I'm not going to be on stream, I will put out, maybe I'll do like a short video along these lines and then post it early in the morning. But my suggestion, use this week as a reset. If you have courses that you're looking at, maybe YouTube videos, it's a great week. I love this week personally, not only because it's Thanksgiving and you get to spend time with family and take a little time away from the screens, but I also use this week to review some trading books, right? I maybe will reread Trading in the Zone, or I'll look at my multi-time frame analysis or my VWAP book, or maybe the IPO book that I talk about. This is a week that I just like to just take a step back, review, prior books and videos that kind of reinforce my edge and take it from there. So, all right, I'll get that transcript posted. See you guys on the other side.